This movie is honestly one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And it stars a great actor, Jensen Ackles. The only thing I can name off the top of my head is he's in that show Supernatural that I've never watched. And of course he plays Soldier Boy in The Boys, but I know he's been in other things that I've seen. But in this, he's just mediocre. The description of the movie is wrong too. Like, the own description of this movie is that he's a high schooler, yet in the movie he's clearly a college student. It's not like he starts out in the beginning of the movie in high school. He's in college. Like, it starts out of him turning 21 not too far into the movie. And there's clearly a setting that's supposed to be a college, not a, high school. So it stars him, this crazy dude Conrad, who has a gun on him and tries to shoot this guy. He gets beat up by him later. They have a little argument about him always protecting him, and he's like, I never asked you to. And he apologizes to him and says something about his medicine. Like he's growing a resistance to it, but that doesn't go anywhere, so eventually he downloads an app on Jensen Ackles' character's computer, uses his zip code and phone and whatever, and eventually Conrad dies. He kills the dude that has been beating him throughout the movie, and the dude's girlfriend, and then he kills himself. But it's because of an crazy app or whatever that makes them do these things. And then eventually his other friend that I can't remember the name of, she could be bi, she could be a lesbian, because there's lines where she clearly doesn't like men. And there was an earlier line where she says a woman had her nose up her skirt. She kind of laughs about it. I think that was supposed to be like an ex-girlfriend or something. Which, if it is a pretty positive thing to say for a 2005 movie. Which is very surprising. There's no slurs in this movie. That's like the only positive. They don't just casually drop slurs in it. But now let's get to the actual big plot of the movie. The supposed app is killing people. It only does one positive thing, and his boss that treats him like crap fires him and hires his nephew because his nephew needs a job or whatever. So later he asks the app to kill his boss, but they're like, oh, that's just getting him what he deserves, or I don't remember exactly what it says. And then eventually we find out what it decided to do instead of kill him. It decided to have someone rob him, and then the security tapes showed him giving the robbers the stuff. So, that doesn't go anywhere either. It's just like, oh, cool, his shitty boss got robbed. And that's it. Eventually the girl dies too, his friend. She kills this teacher off screen that's been sexually harassing her, who's also married, so he's cheating on his wife while also trying to rape this poor girl. And they kill him off screen. The only thing we get to know that he's dead is that she finds his finger with a ring on it, and they later say he's dead. And then the girl also died off screen. We never see them. They're just kind of dead. I really would have liked to see that piece of shit get killed, but, they're just like, oh, he's dead, here's his finger. Eventually his uncle dies, and it matters in that moment. And then they never talk about it again and basically forget that his uncle died. He gets in a car crash, something kills him. Jensen Ackles' character beats the shit out of the car. Because he's angry. His uncle died. He's upset. And he just, destroys the car. Just tries to get in, even though he's clearly dead. Starts punching the car. And then after that, he's never mentioned again. They talk about how his friends are dead. But they never mentioned the uncle again. So he wasn't important, but he was important in just the scene of him finding him. Because later he gets in an argument with the girl that really wasn't that important in the movie. She's just kind of the love interest. Which is weird. I'll explain that later. And, they later get in an argument. She really wasn't important. That's why I'm only mentioning her now. And he's like, oh, my friends are dead. You think I wanted this? And he doesn't mention the fact that his uncle is dead. His uncle is never mentioned again after the scene where he finds him. And then eventually he goes in the forest or whatever after killing this random rich dude that after talking to this Satanist or whatever. I don't know what is going on in this movie. I don't even think he was a Satanist. But after talking to this one dude, he's like, yeah, this dude's evil. Go talk to him. He eventually gets kidnapped by that dude, and then he kills him. Gets mad at him after he tells him the truth or something. And he's like, hey, you're this girl's son. And he's like, oh, that's impossible. She's dead. Then eventually he gets mad at him, throws him in the pool, and he lands on his head in the pool, so he instantly dies. Then his mother turns out to still be alive. Even though that guy just told him that, so it's not really a big surprise. And it turns out the mom is the love interest. She can shapeshift or some shit, and she is the girl that has been kissing him and almost had sex with him in one scene, and the person that stopped it was him, not her. She was about to have sex with her own son. And there's even a line later in the movie where she goes, I'll be anything you want. It's fucking gross, man. And then we find out she killed his adopted parents or whatever. So then he kills her. Then he kind of like passes out or some shit. Then he wakes up and the movie ends with him being responsible for his parents' death. And they think he killed his parents or whatever. This movie was fucking terrible. There's nothing good about it besides the fact that it's an older movie that doesn't say slurs. Other than that, this movie was dog shit. And yeah, I guess that's about it.